But I have shared more about like the royal family. I've shared about President Biden, Obama, RFK Jr., Elon Musk. It was interesting the powerful figures that I was taking on, which was also in my astrology chart. But the backlash that I received energetically from that was quite like destabilizing. If anyone's familiar with like dark forces, reptilian agenda, stuff like that, I was making myself seen in a very visible way.
They don't like that.
They don't like that.
Welcome to the TikTok influencers you really should know about. I'm your host, Christine Blosdale. In this podcast, you'll get to meet TikTok creators who inspire, motivate, and entertain. Get ready to discover the influencers you may not have heard of yet, but you definitely should know about. Welcome back to the TikTok influencers you really should know about. I'm Christine Blosdale. I am a media coach, and that means I take entrepreneurs of all stripes and I help them get their word out on their business and their brand through TikToks, Reels, videos, podcasts, books, you name it. Anything involving media, I'm right there. And I'm really happy about today. I've been planning on this guest to come on the show, and things have happened and we've had to reschedule, and then we reschedule, and finally she's here, and I think it's the perfect timing, and I think she'll agree. My guest is Rebecca Joelle, and she is not only a mentor to awakened women, but she's also a truth catalyst, and she's just amazing. Her videos are incredible. We're going to put a link in the show notes directly to her TikTok page so you can follow. Make sure you follow, comment on the videos as well. And we'll also put a link to her website as well. So let's jump into it. Rebecca, nice to see you, and welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, I am too. I feel like it's Christmas and Easter and Hanukkah and whatever, all the holidays all rolled into one. So I was talking just briefly like about my meter of when I know that there's someone that I want to have on the podcast to let people know about their TikTok page and the work that they do. And with you, when I came across your videos, I was like binge watching, right? I was just going after video, and I really resonated with what you were saying. But most importantly too, I got that, I call it the Blosdale bump, or the goosebumps. And that is that little inner intuition that says, pay attention, or that's right, that's good. And so that was the calling, that was really the pull that had me reach out to you and ask you to be on the show. Can you tell our listeners a little bit about the videos that you do and how you prepare for them? Because I know there's some special stuff that you do.
Yeah, I love that you're actually opening this up with your intuitive gifts so you can show people, how it shows up for them, and it shows up different ways for different people, and bringing more awareness to this. This is one of my missions, is to help people develop their intuition, their connection with source, creator, God, so we can be guided by that instead of the falsities that we see in the news in our daily life. So with TikTok, I started sharing. Actually, I got activated. The eclipse last year happened on my birthday, and in my career house. I didn't know what was coming, but I knew it was going to be something big. It was conjunct my North Node, for any astrologers out there. So it was like this fated moment, right? And people were talking about Kate Middleton, and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, whatever. Like, I don't care about the news, right?
Right. Or the royal family.
Yeah, I don't care. Like, I don't pay attention to celebrities. I'm not a celebrity psychic. There's people that do that. That's not really me. I do it based on like, your goosebumps, right? It's like my inner calling, like what my soul is calling me towards. And with the Kate Middleton thing, I was like, well, anyone can tune in. We all have these gifts, and that's my personal belief. And so I spent like 3 or 4 days receiving transmissions from source on what was true about the Kate Middleton situation. And mind you, I had been through a spiritual awakening, but there are levels to this, as you know, right? We're not going to be shown something that we're not quite ready to receive. And there was so much darkness that came through in those channelings. And people see those videos on TikTok and they can see my emotion, because I was grappling with it. But I also knew that I was being called forward to share this openly with the public. And so it was kind of a spark, that kind of lit a big fire. And overnight, I went from 600 followers to 20,000.
Wow.
And I'm getting chills right now because I had revealed so much that, like, so many people who were, quote, awake and conscious to what's really going on in this world and the spiritual warfare that we're dealing with, they felt validated. They felt seen, they knew that something was up, and I was putting it into tangible words and the frequency that came through from source. But it also pissed off a lot of people. I had so much hate messages because, we've got a bifurcation in our timelines, right? Like, not everyone is, quote, awake. And we're like, come with us,
Yeah,
but
come on, join
people,
us.
yeah, join us, join the rebels. And so that kind of like sprang into, people kind of considered my channel the Kate Middleton channel. And I was like, no, but I have shared more about like the royal family. I've shared about President Biden, Obama, RFK Jr., Elon Musk. It was interesting, the powerful figures that I was taking on, which was also in my astrology chart. But the backlash that I received energetically from that was quite like destabilizing. If anyone's familiar with like dark forces, reptilian agenda, stuff like that, I was making myself seen in a very visible way.
They don't like that.
They don't like that. And I was putting my life in danger, and it was scary to do that. So I had to be more, I was shadow banned. I had videos taken down because I can get into people's headspaces. Like, that's what I've been doing in my private sessions with clients. I can hear people's subconscious thoughts. I basically go up to creator. I can see their past lives. I can see interactions that they've had with an ex-partner and why they can't move on from them. Like, I can see the conversation that they've had pre-incarnation as to like, why is this person in their life? What are the lessons? What conversation did they have? All in unconditional love, right? Why is this narcissist in my life?
Why is this asshole
Level.
in my life?
Why is this asshole stuck to me forever, eternity? I have one of those, by the way. So anyways, I just posted all these videos, and it just like, it gathered steam. And then it felt unsafe. Like, I felt reptilian, especially with the royal family. And then I had videos taken down about Biden. So I was being redirected. I feel like things are always working for us, right? And I just felt energetically I was being redirected to form my own community so I can share these exclusive hidden truths behind, in a safe place where people who are aligned to be there. And it's called unity, as in like we are all one, unity consciousness, right? And it's for people to develop their intuitive gifts and to be along and amongst people who are like-minded souls,
Who get it.
who get it. Because a lot of times we feel like we're surrounded by, I don't mean to, muggles, and we're judged, and we think we're crazy because we're conspiracy theorists, we're labeled in this and that way. And a lot of these people who are waking up are old souls, or, they have compassion. It's like a one-way street, but the other party doesn't have compassion towards them, and they feel like they don't belong. So some of those exclusive videos, like I've shared on Oprah and Obama and chemtrails and the flooding that happened in Spain, every time I'm guided to something, it's mind blowing. I did a video on Britney Spears because people kept asking about it, but not because people asked me about it, right? It's because I feel an intuitive pull, like I got to post on this.
Yeah.
And then that led to cloning. And it was like, okay, how many Pandora boxes are we going to open here? And then in my unity, I recently channeled on Whitney Houston because a client wanted me to channel on that.
Oh, girl. Yeah.
And I never know like what I'm going to like. I actually did. It was just a beautiful thing. Someone reached out to me on TikTok and asked if they can help with a missing person case. I didn't charge them or anything. I didn't feel compelled to charge them. I was like, well, let me just look into this. But I never know what I'm going to see, because I guess you would call, I could point my consciousness or whatever, wherever. Correct. It's like a past life or another place on the planet or whatever, remote viewing, whatever you want to call it. So I saw the last moments of that person's life and how they died, like the conversation that they had with the taxi driver, to them drowning in the sea and their disorientation in their headspace. Like, I could feel that. So that was a beautiful, thing. But like, a lot of the times, like, people want me to channel on things that are like murder cases and things like that. And I'm like, that'd be so traumatic for me to see, feel, witness it because I feel it like I'm
You
there.
feel it, right?
So as much as I like get requests to channel on this and that, everyone wants to know, I'm not a celebrity psychic. I do what I feel called to on a soul level that's going to serve the collective in the highest best way, and that's not going to traumatize me. So
Right, right.
yeah, that's a little bit about like what I've been sharing on my TikTok videos, hidden truth videos, I call them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, and you bring out, you say and you speak it so well. That's the other thing. The words that you choose, or the words that come through you, are so well placed that people get it. And I mean, I know, because I've been around the block for a long time. Let's put it this way: when I was a little tiny little baby little kid, I knew JFK. I knew that whole thing. I was like, no. I knew Martin Luther King. No, I knew it all, right? Just because you could feel it, right? And
Yeah.
what you're going into and talking, and I think many of us, on a deep soul level, when we see things in the news or we hear things, we know something, it's not what they're saying, right?
Yeah.
We know that there's foul play. We don't know how dark it is, but we
Right.
know that there's foul play. Case in point, when Princess Diana, when she was killed, when she died, of course the whole world, everybody was, shocked. Immediately I felt there was something wrong with the story, but also that there was many layers that we were not being, told about. And I can't even think about the royal family without feeling the really dark shit. And I'm
I
like,
think
nope.
I think it's so
I'm like, no way.
yeah, but I think what you're talking about is so important to bring up in this podcast episode because people have forgotten how to feel, and that is our connection to our intuition. Like you're clearly in tune with that, right? And people have, I think like the biggest pandemic we have is a closed heart, and that's like it's preventing us from being connected with ourselves, our emotions, our intuition, our divinity, and with each other. And so the
Yeah.
feeling piece is so important. And then we get in our logical brains and we try to explain our way out of it because the truth is crazier than, you know what I mean, than we would realize. It's so
Well, and
dark.
but remember, that's what they were saying. What in Hitler's time is that the things that were going on were so out of people's conscious,
Yeah,
like it was so crazy that nobody would believe it. And
right.
that's what's happening. And but we are seeing the shift. Okay, so we are seeing
Yeah,
people, and I believe there's more light popping up all over the planet. That's
yeah,
why, the dome. That's why there's this rush to crush the human spirit. Also, I think the rush to stop TikTok in America as well, because you know truth gets out, and when truth gets
yeah,
out, hey, we
right.
can't do what we want to do. So you have that
Yeah,
happening, but that opening up of people more and more, and you can see it on TikTok. When something happens, people are like, no, that's not how it happens. Or they're little investigators. This is one reason why I love TikTok, because man, you're like Sherlock Holmes and Magnum PI all rolled into one, and Charlie's Angels. People are like slowing down videos and they're looking at stuff and they're going, wait, what is this on the coffee table? What is this? Let's zoom in on this. And I think we're the journalists, we're the
yeah,
modern day truth seekers and
mm,
journalists. And as we were talking about, before, those that were labeled conspiracy theorists, which was an agency with a 3-letter thing that was made up by an agency to discredit people, kind of like back in the days when they said witch. You're a witch.
exactly, exactly.
Right. I think that people can see it now, and immediately they can go, yeah, no, that doesn't pass the smell test. And that's why I love TikTok so much, and why we must keep it
Oh, for sure.
available in the US. Okay, so my spidey senses are telling me this: we have a platform. If there's some things that you want to let people know about, and they can be quick, they can be, little blurbs, little things that you think are important for people right now, because people are kind of stressing out. we've
Yeah.
got a lot of stuff happening in the world, and particular in the United States. There's this energy that's going on. This,
Yeah.
people are
Right.
scared.
Yeah. It's a crazy time. Some things that I do practically speaking to like speak to like what could help your audience is one, turn off your news.
Yes.
Two is energy hygiene. And that's something that I have practiced for years. And thankfully I learned that before my spiritual awakening. And that's where other people, we are energetic beings, right? Other people are energetic beings, and we can influence each other energetically. You can be influenced energetically by someone just by holding up your phone and looking at some fearful thing, right? You
Right.
can be projected upon energetically. You can have entities in your field which can make you feel hopeless, tired, depressed, suicidal. So I would pay attention to your energy hygiene. And, I have a free cord cutting tool on my website. Anyone can use it. I use it, before and after my sessions, whenever I feel like someone's drawing on my energy. Because when you put yourself in a space where you're interacting with people from all over the world, right, as we are, because this is the age that we live in, then you can, if you're not really careful with your energetic space, then you can pick up stuff that's really not going to be good for you. And I
Yeah.
and I do that with my client sessions, but I also do it inside my Unity membership in a group setting. If anyone wants to, well, I don't know when this is going to be posted, but they're welcome to reach out to me and join, the group energy clearing and my Unity membership for free, just to see what it's like, see what it's about. But it runs the gamut. It's like your abundance can be affected by your energy. Your access to loving relationships can be influenced by your energy hygiene. You can have body pain, health problems, like it's everything, because it all
Yeah.
starts at the energetic level. So, not to complicate things. So, turning off the news, energy hygiene, and watch your thoughts, observe your thoughts. Because if, I was talking to a client this morning who's like regularly in a panicked, anxious state about money. And I'm like, well, that's like, I was shown this vision of like every time she was having those thoughts, it's like this cartoon that's being kind of sketched and made into reality, because that's what we're creating. So
Yeah.
really focus on the outcome that you want. And if those thoughts creep up, oh my god, I'm so scared, oh my god, this is a crazy fucked up world that we're living in, then that's what I mean by unity. Like, we are all in this together, manifesting the world that we want to live in. So what do you want to live in? You need to focus on the thoughts and the feelings of what that feels like to have that world that we want to live in. Most of us want that. Some other people, the dark lords, right, want what we currently have, but we get to choose our reality. And the challenge there is that we get to choose. It's a group manifestation process. The more of
Yeah.
us that wake up and are anchored into love. When you said that, like, you could feel what I was channeling from source, when I do readings for people, it's so interesting to me that the language is in the frequency that it needs to be received for by the reader, by the person I'm reading for. It's very different. Like, I did this one time, this very poetic, flowery, beautiful thing that came through from source, and I'm like, this is interesting. This has never come. She's like, oh, I'm a creative writer, and I'm like,
Oh.
oh. And so each time, so when I ask from source, like, tell me about Biden, for example, like, what does the collective need to hear right now for their highest and best good? Then I'll hear how it needs to land on TikTok, in the exact language that it's going to be received in the highest and best way.
That's why. That's what I
And it's
was picking
it's in
up.
the heart. People feel that, it
Yeah.
lands there. Yeah.
It's the same thing when I have clients that I work with who are stressed and they're overwhelmed, and the scarcity mindset, right? And
Yeah.
I need clients, and then I need, and I said that energy it's like a poo poo smell,
It's a
and
rip.
that poo poo
Yeah.
smell, people are going to smell it, they're going to feel it, they're going to taste it, and they're going to run. So
Right.
if you're wanting to bring in people into to serve for service, right? You want to
Serve.
give them something good, and you want to bring them in, and you want to get paid for it. Then I said, your energy is stinky poo poo, and that stinky poo poo is going to turn people away. And it's a challenge when you have bills and you have all that stuff. It is a
Yeah.
challenge to switch it, but
Right.
when you do switch it, and just even try it, just
Yeah.
try also being grateful for what you have
Right.
all around you, the abundance that you have instead of the
Yeah.
lack. And it's
Right.
amazing what can happen from that. Right.
Totally true.
I
Yeah.
want to jump back because you had said something earlier, and I know I'm hearing the collective going, wait a second, she said clones. What the fuck? What is that? So because yeah. So most people, when they think about clones, they just think about Dolly the sheep, the a long time ago. And I know we'll open up a little bit of a can of worms, but why not? Clones.
What we do, yeah. So
How come
clones.
how come I don't have one that can actually go and do my laundry and do all the things that I don't want to do?
Well, I think it comes down to money and power, to be honest, keep it short. I'm sure you already know that, but
Yeah. Yeah.
so yeah, and so the other thing I invite people to check out my cloning videos it's on YouTube and on TikTok. There's a Britney Spears one and then there's one on human cloning because it was like so fascinating that I was like, okay, we need to know more information about this.
Yes.
And now I don't feel so crazy, like release, a year ago, but now it's like, of course. So I wouldn't be able to tell you word for word because when it comes to you from source, I'm literally handwriting it down. So that's my process. And then I get it typed up and then I share a video. So that's my process you had asked me about earlier on TikTok or YouTube.
Yeah.
So I don't remember in detail. I just remember, yes, cloning has been around for a while. Advanced technologies that we think we're incapable of have been around for a while. I remember that I heard that there were 8 facilities. So this isn't like a small operation. This is a well-developed, well-established system, like an underground system. It looked like all of them, I think, were like underground. Oh, so crazy. Like I saw there's in my video, I talk about like what it looks like to me, what the visions that I was shown. And there's a movie, is it called The Island or something
Yeah.
with
I think that's what it's called.
Scarlett Johansson? That's reality. Like we're living that reality. Like it's bonkers. So it first came through because of the Kate Middleton royal family thing. And then I saw the process of it. I saw a very famous rich person. I won't name that person, but I go into it in my Unity membership, who was opening. I didn't release that online because I didn't want to become a target, but I saw that person opening an invitation. Like this is what they showed me, to be invited to have a clone. And so I feel like it's an invitation kind of system. It's like money, power. It's a very secret system. And some people, like this person who had their body cloned, wanted to live on, had put it into their will or whatever, and their closest friends knew about it. It would help them live on for like eternity, their consciousness or whatever. So it's like a planning ahead kind of thing.
Right.
And so that was the one example. And then Britney Spears, I did that one on her, and Kate Middleton. And so it's widely used. I mean, even when I talked about Biden, and that's where I got my videos taken down because I clearly saw this image. I don't know if this is okay to share on here,
Go ahead.
but that's why one of my videos got taken down on TikTok because I can see in detail that Biden was taken out by like, I think it was like 5 or 6 men in an office, and he was replaced by a clone. And then so it's just wild. We're just living in this reality that's just like mind-blowing. But when I do readings for people in almost 27 countries, and they're all spot on based on just the person's first name and their question, I trust what's coming through for all this other bizarre stuff, even though
Yeah.
it's like really challenging,
Yeah.
my frame of mind.
Well, it's not something like over Thanksgiving dinner that you open up with your aunts and uncles. Oh, did you know that there's clones? Well, now, and so there are clones for those, I guess, those
Yeah.
wealthy individuals who want to live forever and ever and ever. But then there's also the nefarious things, right? Because a commodity like Britney, which she is,
Right.
there's
Making
people
money
that are
from her.
making a
Yeah.
lot of money off of
Right.
her, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know, when we see those videos that come up from time to time where she's dancing, I know there's something off with that person or that thing that we see
Yeah.
on those
Yeah.
videos, right? But the same goes like with the Kate Middleton stuff, because Kate was what she was missing for however long, and they said, oh, she's got this and that. And I know that's where the backlash came, because people were like, how dare you, she's got cancer, and you're,
Right. And that was intentional too, right?
of course, because if she's got cancer, go away,
How could you do that? How could you talk about something in their family? Let them suffer in peace, And it was like,
Exactly.
so it makes me to be the bad guy. Yeah, it was all cleverly strategized.
So there are those that find themselves amongst this darkness, really crazy crap who want to get out, and there is no out.
Yeah.
I'm guessing, like with
Yeah.
Diana and Kate and whoever else, that there really is no way out. Like you can't just go, okay, I'm done. I'm sorry, I saw all that stuff
Yeah.
that you guys are doing, and I just want to leave out the back
Well, there's
door.
also, I'm sure you're aware, but there's also these satanic rituals, right? They're in Hollywood, the elite, and all. So that's all. And I had a client actually who was like intimately familiar with these satanic rituals at a very high leadership level. So that was wild, having a client like that and accompanying with my own skills and be able to see clearly. So, I mean, a lot more people are waking up to this, but it is mind blowing. But I think it is connected to the satanic rituals and certain ways that they have to do things, right? So they can't
Yeah.
just, oh, I'm out. See ya.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
no, no, no. And people are waking up to it because look at the music industry. You know,
right.
right now every single music video that comes out, people are, I mean, it's they're pushing it. You know, they're pushing who they are, who they worship, right? Whatever.
I think that's one of the reasons why Whitney Houston was taken out, to be honest. Yeah,
Really.
yeah.
Do you think that because she wasn't going to do that, or because
Because she
it
was
was a
going to speak
ritual?
out about it. She was
Yeah.
going to speak out about it. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, there's a few that I know were taken out, and probably because they were either going to expose something or they wanted to step out of the system. Prince, I knew, I every single cell in my being knew that the story that they said was not correct. I actually got some intuition pushed towards me on him. Of course, the was it, Whitney, and then after Whitney, shortly after that was her daughter,
Right.
the same kind of situation, and nobody's asking questions like what?
Right.
Anne Heche.
People ask me to channel on her. I haven't done that yet.
Anne Heche. Oh, there you go. There's one for you. And the
Mhm.
video showing her coming, she's like unzipping the body bag and sitting up, and then they push her back in and they put her in there. Marilyn Monroe. Just go down the list of
Yeah.
all of these
Yeah.
people, and especially in the entertainment industry. What I find is that the catalog of these artists, Michael Jackson, Whitney, George Michael, there's quite a few. Their catalog is worth more to certain people than with them dead than with them alive,
Right.
right? And so there's so much of that nefarious stuff happening now. I see some of it is unraveling. We can see little bits and pieces of it unraveling, but I'm thinking that with the people that are involved, they're not going to let this, they're going to try everything they can to not let this come out to light. Especially even the Diddy thing is like such a no-brainer because he was so over the top and sloppy
Hmm.
that they're not going to. What are your thoughts on that? Are they going to let
I
this stuff
haven't
out?
channeled I haven't channeled on Diddy, but like I'm just even hearing that, like, and a lot of the lyrics too, there's a lot of talk about selling your soul to the devil.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So it's out there and people are becoming more aware, but but the also the thing is, like, people who are quote awake aren't checking the news. Like, I don't check the news, and that gives me, like, I don't want the bias. So I just, like, what's your question? Okay, so I'll just ask source because that's where truth is coming from. And that's my no nonsense approach to it.
yeah,
And even the California fires, right? Like, we know most people who are not awake are like, well, that was not an accident.
yeah. No, same thing with Maui, and I knew immediately. Isn't that interesting? Yeah, you're.
It's becoming so obvious that the muggles or the people who aren't awake, I mean, what they're doing to try to hide evidence or to confuse people is actually waking people up. It's triggering more awakenings
Yeah, yeah. Well, because it's over the top now,
at the top.
and I think that more and more people are also disconnecting from the traditional news sources.
Well, we've also been programmed, right, through movies. And so we'll see something play. I forget the term, what that's called, but they'll do something like a theme in the movies, right, where
Predictive,
we
is it
will.
predictive programming or something like
There
that?
you go. It's predictive programming. Yeah. And we are scared of people in the Middle East or whatever. And then we're going to have an attack. And then the next thing is UFOs. And then that's going to be, like, that's going to be the next attack. And people are going to be ready for it because they've seen all the videos for 20, 30 years about how aliens attack. And I'm just like, big roll of the eyes. Like, come on. Like, with the people or the source that I connect with, I don't connect with intermediaries. That's not how it's going to go, you know?
So obviously there is this, gosh, it's just like a Star Wars movie. There is this battle
Totally.
between dark and light, right? There love and fear, all that good
Right.
stuff. So there is obviously this, it's playing out in front of us.
Yeah.
What do you think are, well, I know you gave some ideas and some tips for us to how
Yeah.
we can move forward, but what do you think is going to move the chessboard pieces in the right direction for us as the ones that are not muggles, the ones that are awake, and we got some work to do, in other words, right?
So move the pieces for who?
For us, for the
For
light.
all of us?
Yes.
Well, I think that that's developing your intuition. Like that's been such a main mission of mine. With the formation of the Unity membership, people were asking me like, how do you connect with source and how do you, and so then I put together a class and ran it live and we had like 30, 40 minutes of a live Q&A. I don't gatekeep anything. I want everyone to be on the same page. We're all, no better or worse than one another. And so I posted, that's on my website. People can take that. It's or do that. It's a simple meditation. I show people exactly what I do, and it's not complicated. It's not complicated, and now I even have downloads in that recorded class, so people have the download that it's safe to connect with source. They don't. A lot of people are walking around with a God wound, an abandonment wound from source consciousness, and so that's going on. So I would just invite people to develop their intuition, and the other things, little things too. It's like most people are spending time indoors with all the Wi-Fi's going through their bodies, and then they can't think clearly. So grounding, nature, sunlight, the going back to the basics, because look at what we're doing. Most of us are spending time indoors. We're surrounded by Wi-Fi's, which creates a lot of confusion with
Yeah.
people's energy, being able to think clearly, decide clearly, being able to trust their intuition because of the energetic waves. And then
Right.
also the modification too. I mean, there's just so many things, but they can't sever our connection to source. We are source. We're fractals of the divine. That's more powerful than any of this bullshit.
More powerful than directed energy weapons.
Yeah, our consciousness is creating the reality. So then we have more people in fear. And so then that's what, who doesn't matter who's elected. You
No.
know, we got like half of the population pissed off because Trump is elected, and they're like, this is going to suck, and this is going to be so bad, and now we live in a terrible world. Well,
We
that
have
is
been living in a
the
terrible,
ocean.
right.
That's manifesting more of the same shit.
I think it's
So
just being
we're
more
in this together.
obvious. I think what's happening is that the players, the actors, are just being more obvious. They're showing their cards, right? Before
Yeah,
it was Slick Willie and Slick
right,
Obama, and he
right.
charming and had good, now we got we got somebody who's just saying it out loud. I'm gonna kill all the puppies and you're gonna pay for it. And you know,
I mean, I channeled on Trump and I was blown a bit away by what came through because I was not a fan of, I wouldn't say I'm a fan of any politician. I'm on team humanity. I say that, I'll share things without attachment on TikTok and people can take what they want and leave the rest. I invite people to be discerning and trust their own intuition. But what came through on Trump, I was like, wow, okay, like I have a better understanding, but this is not, I just don't judge what comes through. And
right.
that's the problem with most of us when we're developing our intuition, right? We have this feeling, but then you said like our mind gets through and we'll judge it. We don't think it's true. It's too whack. It's too crazy, or we don't trust ourselves, which is the big one. We don't trust our connection to source. And so it's this little window, if we could just not like, that's the bottleneck, if you will, when we hear things from our higher self source, and then we immediately get into our mental space and judge it
Right.
instead of receiving it, and
Right.
anyone can do it.
Well, they can get more, but they can get some advice and some guidance from you, which is, I highly recommend people go. We'll put the link to your website so people can check out the Unity group that you've got going on there. For those that want to just run there right now, it's IamRebeccaJoelle.com, but I have this proper spelling and the link in the show notes, as well as the link to Rebecca's TikTok page. You can also on TikTok, it's, if you did medicine woman, you'll see Rebecca Joelle and you can find her there. But just click the link in the show notes if you want. Rebecca, it's been great. I could talk to you for hours and hours.
Likewise.
I feel like we just got started, but thank you again for coming on the show, and continued success on TikTok and wherever you are, because who knows if TikTok's here tomorrow, whatever, we will find you because you're also on YouTube, correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
having me.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
It's been my honor. And I want to thank you, wonderful listeners and viewers, those that are watching on YouTube. Thank you for tuning in today. If you want more information about this podcast, you can go to the TikTokinfluencers.com. If you want more information about all the coaching stuff that I do with my clients, you can go to ChristineBlosdale.com. All those links in the show notes. And if you dug this and it resonated with you, share this. Don't be stingy and keep it to yourself. Share this on your social media or with friends and family that you think should hear this wonderful guest that I had on today, Rebecca Joelle. All right. Until next time, remember to keep scrolling through that TikTok, because you'll never know. You might find that influencer that you really should know about, just like I found Rebecca. You might find that person too. All right. Take care, and we'll talk to you soon.